In a quiet forest at the edge of a sparkling blue lake lived a community of animals that treated one another like family. There were rabbits, deer, foxes, frogs, ducks, and turtles, all sharing the same water, trees, and sunshine. Among them was a small, humble turtle named Timo. Timo wasn't the fastest animal in the forest. He wasn't the strongest, the cleverest, or the most admired. But he had something far more important, something that didn't shine on the outside, but glowed warmly from within. Timo had patience. He moved slowly, but he never rushed, never panicked, and never complained. Whether the day was too hot, the path too long, or the world too chaotic, Timo simply breathed, smiled, and kept going. But not everyone appreciated this, especially not Rio, the fastest and most prideful rabbit in the forest. Rio loved and lived to show off. Every morning, he would sprint from one tree to the next, leaving clouds of dust behind. Then he'd boast loudly, "No one can beat me. I'm the fastest animal in the forest." The other animals rolled their eyes. They knew it was true. Rio was incredibly fast, but his bragging could be exhausting. One bright morning, Rio hopped onto a stump near the lake and shouted so loudly the ducks fluttered in surprise. "Hey, everyone! Who wants to race me? Anyone brave enough?" No one stepped forward. The foxes shook their heads. The deer refused politely. Even the young rabbits hid behind their mothers. But then, slowly, very slowly, a small voice rose above the silence. "I will race you, Rio." The animals gasped. Timo the turtle was looking at Rio with calm, steady eyes. For a moment, the forest was silent, and then it erupted in laughter. "The turtle wants to race? Is he serious? Rio will finish before Timo even takes 10 steps." Even Rio laughed so hard he had to hold his stomach. "You race me? Oh, this is going to be fun." Timo didn't blush, didn't get angry, didn't back away. He simply said, "It's not always about winning. I just want to try." Rio smirked. "Fine, tomorrow at sunrise. And don't worry, I'll try not to fall asleep waiting for you." The next morning, animals from every corner of the forest gathered to watch. Birds perched on branches, squirrels sat on rocks. Even owls stayed awake after their night of hunting just to see the spectacle. The racetrack was simple. A long dirt path winding between the trees and ending at a tall oak marked with colorful leaves. Timo and Rio stood at the starting line. Rio stretched confidently. Timo took a deep breath. "Ready, set, go!" shouted the fox referee. Rio shot forward like lightning. Behind him, Timo began walking, slow, steady, determined. Step, step, step. The crowd roared as Rio disappeared around the first bend. "Rio's already halfway. Timo hasn't even reached the first tree." But Timo didn't listen. He kept his focus on the path ahead, moving with calm purpose. Rio's overconfidence. Rio ran so fast that the wind whistled past his ears. A few minutes later, he was already far ahead, so far ahead that Timo was completely out of sight. Rio stopped and looked back. This is too easy, he thought. Timo will take forever. I have time to relax. He spotted a shady patch under a tall maple tree and decided to rest, just for a minute. He stretched out his long legs, laid down comfortably, and fell asleep almost instantly. Meanwhile, Timo continued his steady walk. The path wasn't easy. There were sharp stones, prickly branches, and small puddles. Once his foot slipped on loose soil. Another time, he had to push a fallen leaf twice his size out of the way. But he never stopped. As he crossed a sunny clearing, he saw a tiny ant struggling to carry a crumb bigger than her body. Timo paused. "Do you need help?" he asked gently. The ant shook her head, but smiled. "Thank you, Timo. Most creatures just rush by, but you see us." Timo smiled back and continued on. Soon, the path curved into a cooler, darker patch of forest. Birds sang overhead, and a light breeze danced through the leaves. Every sound, every smell, every movement became part of Timo's quiet, peaceful journey. Step by steady step, he moved forward. He didn't know where Rio was. He didn't know if he was winning or losing. He simply knew one thing. I chose to race, so I must keep going. After a long nap, Rio suddenly opened his eyes. The sun was higher in the sky. Wait, how long have I been sleeping? He jumped up, stretched, and burst back onto the path. "I'm still way ahead," he muttered. "I'll win easily." But something felt off. As he hopped faster and faster, he heard cheering in the distance. Loud cheering. His ears perked up. What's happening? Why are they cheering already? He sprinted around the final bend and froze. Timo was right there, only a few feet from the finish line. The animals were shouting, "Go, Timo, go! You can do it! Almost there!" Rio's heart dropped. He pushed forward with all his strength, running faster than he had ever run in his life. But it wasn't enough. Timo crossed the finish line, slow, silent, and smiling. The forest exploded with applause. Rio skidded to a stop, panting, shocked, and embarrassed. Timo turned and gave him a gentle nod. A lesson learned. Rio hung his head. "I can't believe I lost. I thought speed was everything." Timo walked up beside him. "Speed matters," he said softly, "but so do patience, consistency, and the willingness to keep going, even when it's hard." Rio felt tears prick his eyes, not of sadness, but of understanding. "I judged you, I laughed at you, but you had something I didn't." Timo smiled warmly. "We all have our strengths, Rio. Yours is speed, mine is patience. One is not better than the other, they're just different." Rio took a deep breath. "From now on, I'm going to use my speed without taking others for granted, and without taking myself too seriously." The animals cheered again, not for the race this time, but for the friendship that had formed. After that day, the forest felt different in the best way. Rio still ran fast, but now he encouraged others instead of bragging. He ran races with younger rabbits and poached them with kindness. Timo became a quiet role model. Whenever an animal felt overwhelmed, when the path ahead seemed long or frightening, they would visit him. And he always said the same thing. Take your time, breathe, keep moving. Patience will carry you farther than speed alone. The forest grew happier, more peaceful, and more united. All because one small turtle believed in the simple power of going slow and never giving up. Moral of the story: patience isn't weakness. Consistency isn't boring.